Good afternoon, my name is Olamide Olabiyi.
And my name is Thamindu Widyarante. First and foremost, we would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to the teachers, administration, and staff of Sa-Hali Secondary.
We thank the entirety of the Sabre community, including parents, guardians, and supporters, as well as those who've allowed for the both of us to be up here today, representing Sa-Hali's graduating class. It is truly an honor.
To our guests, Trustee Joe Small, Superintendent Allison Sido, and Assistant Superintendent Bill Hamblett, we express our gratitude. None of us would have made this journey if it weren't for your hard work and dedication.
Lastly, a heartfelt congratulations to those of you who are seeing their loved ones graduate after all these years. And of course, a massive congratulations to the class of 2020, who have not only graduated, but persevered. With that being said,
you guys might remember that assembly we had right when the school year started. Mr. Prasad and Mr. Lamoureux were up in front of us, giving us their little directions on how we were going to survive the 5 years ahead of us. I personally don't remember much of that, but I do remember that at one point, Mr. Prasad looked at us and he noted how cool it would be to graduate in the year 2020. I wish I could go back in time and warn him. It's the elephant in the Zoom call, so we're not going to dance around the issue. The COVID-19 pandemic has changed for us a lot of the things that we saw the other grad classes enjoy before they went off into the real world.
But while we are not together as we graduate, we are together in the sense that we share this unique position, and no matter where our passions take us, we will always share a bond, one like no other graduating class. We're all wonderfully different people, and although we may walk wonderfully different paths in life, it's worth remembering that for only a moment, those paths converged here, at Sa-Hali. Today we wish to celebrate that.
The moment we walked through the doors of this building for the first time, it became apparent that this ride that we were on was going to be nothing like the musical. We went from being at the top of the food chain to, well, the very bottom. New experiences really helped us find our ways, though. Sa-Hali gave us little courses that were aptly called mosaics, because just like piecing together a mosaic, those little 2-week courses helped us piece together our interests into what we wanted to do.
Grade 8 is a year that some of us cringe remembering, but we should be proud of it. We adapted quickly to a brand new environment, and we even got to take home a pair of boxer shorts from sewing class. Grade 9 wasn't too bad either. We continued to learn more about ourselves, and Sa-Hali always provided a home for your interests. Ms. Kakesi's room was open to those who wanted to explore the arts, and the science rooms and library could always help you stay on your A game.
When it came time for a little R&R, Mr. Litz and Mr. Rubergs were always open for some fun and games. And the hallways at this school were perfect to walk idly around, because it's hard to get lost in a square.
We also had the athletes. The gym became your second home. Early morning and late evening practices, games, and lunch meetings became your lives. Your first challenge was getting a jersey with your favorite number. You guys didn't fail to represent us well. You had some amazing coaches who taught you to play hard and the importance of never giving up. You guys were diligent and determined. The proof is in our trophy case.
Now, for most part, grade 10 was when high school really began. We became braver and more adventurous, like when we all did the Planning 10 work the week it was due. CLE 10 just won't provide the same experience. We got connections back on Wednesdays, even though every other school already had it. And all of a sudden, Wednesdays became almost as cool as Fridays were. In our own minds, we were almost as cool as the grade 12s. We became less shy, more bold, more confident, perhaps a little too confident. We stopped avoiding people, and we started hanging out around lockers and forming annoying little roadblocks of our own. We got to choose which courses we were taking too, which began our growth into the different branching paths we walk today.
In grade 11, we realized that we couldn't stay here forever, and that we would soon find ourselves in university. In the face of that, we learned how to dream big without hesitation, and how to work harder than ever before. We found new study methods, practiced new drills, and we found various hobbies and outlets, all while maintaining our friendships.
That effort and dedication really paid off, because that was the year that we saw the senior boys place 3rd at provincials. We saw pieces of artwork by Sa-Hali students recognized not only across the city, but up in space. The leadership committee, meanwhile, planned some massive fundraisers and some unforgettable pep rallies. And the debate club once again won city championships.
We even had students take part in one-of-a-kind programs outside of Sa-Hali. It was the last year we would get soaked by the grade 12's water balloons, and we began to look forward in one day taking part in that tradition. Again, we were picking classes, but this time for our final year. And just like that, on September 2nd, 2019, we began grade 12.
Now, grade 12 at Sa-Hali almost started with a bang. We were once again at the top of the food chain. This year brought a sense of freedom because we were able to drive to as far as Costco for lunch and get back in time for class. A lot of us could barely fathom the thought of it actually being our last year at high school, and in just a couple months, we'd be tossing our caps and waving each other goodbye.
The university fair held in the gym and CLC 12 made it a little easier to come to terms with the fact that high school was almost over.
Having to do the capstone project made it a lot easier.
We dominated in intramurals, and it wasn't long before we were coming up with our graduation quotes for the yearbook and signing Sa-Hali's best grad mural yet.
Shout out to Rio, Anna, Emma, and Danielle.
Senioritis was just around the corner. All of the significant little experiences that defined a final year were finally coming to pass.
With any grade 12 year, there comes this period of reflection. What did we as a grad class leave behind? What was our legacy? Well, we came to this school in grade 8, and we found out that our school motto was going to be together. It was something that you could recognize really as you walked through the hallways and heard the laughter of students and the pre-COVID high fives and hugs going around.
Our school's culture has always been vibrant and meaningful. The graduating class of 2020 was able to take Sa-Hali's motto and make it our own by valuing inclusion and equity, regardless of the arbitrary differences between us.
To the younger students of Sa-Hali, or any future students who are watching this really, we encourage you to continue putting yourself out there. Make friends by joining clubs, taking different classes, or playing a sport.
Meeting new people and establishing new relationships was never hard for the class of 2020 because we were also involved at Sa-Hali in one way or another. If anything, the coronavirus has taught us that these are the connections that really help in times like these.
See, the world is rapidly changing these days, and we as human beings can be a little afraid of change. But to embrace change is to thrive. 5 years ago, we came here for grade 8, and that was a massive change for all of us, but making the speech now, it's apparent that we all made it out alive.
The skills we learned throughout high school can be equally useful in surviving real life. Right now, we're heading into the world just as it needs us most, and ready or not, we all have a special part to play. Discovering that role may just as well be a part of the process.
See, there's no doubt that Sa-Hali had a tremendous influence on every single one of us. Whether it was the athletics, academics, or the arts, Sa-Hali enabled us to pursue what we were passionate about and make friends along the way.
Throughout high school, we watched each other grow, and despite the madness, only one thing remained the same, and that was Sa-Hali's motto, together. It's something every student has embraced at one point or another, and it goes without saying that our graduation feels somewhat incomplete, as we are missing the vital part of what made us Sabres.
It's hard to say what'll happen in the future, isn't it? Who you are today is probably wildly different from what your grade 8 self imagined you being, and our futures may be equally unexpected. Just because you have it all today doesn't mean that you can sit back and guarantee success. And just because you aren't where you want to be right now doesn't mean that you can't work hard and find yourself there later.
We wish the best to all the grads in all of their future endeavors.
As we leave Sa-Hali Secondary, better versions of our past selves. On behalf of the graduating class of 2020, we'd like to thank the Sa-Hali student body, each and every one of whom defied labels.
In the arts, you reminded us that even in high school there can be beautiful things.
In athletics, you made Sabre Pride a little easier with all the trophies you won.
In the band, you always provided your services when needed, and you all played your role fantastically in the journey we've taken together.
Thank you to all the nature fans out there who helped clean up at Inks and Goose Lake.
Thank you, essential workers, in this time of crisis.
Thank you to younger siblings for reminding us that the most annoying things come in small packages.
And thank you, older siblings, for reminding us that no matter what, we could always be doing worse.
Thank you to parents, step-parents, and all the guardians out there for shaping us into who we are today. That's right, we are entirely your fault.
Thank you, teachers and staff of Sa-Hali, for all that you do on top of your duties to make each and every student's journey through Sa-Hali special.
And lastly, a massive thank you to everybody listening for being part of this journey that we all took together.
We could not have done it without you.